It's Randy Orton. Oh!
I have voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
Hey guys, what's up? Mr. Vito here, and today I'm back with another reaction and beyond video for the pay-per-views. And today we're doing Money in the Bank, because that happened last night. And gotta say, really awesome show. I thought definitely one of the best WWE pay-per-views in a while. Like, I'd say the best pay-per-view since maybe even WrestleMania 30, something like that. It was a very good show though. Especially the three main matches, the main event, Money in the Bank ladder match, Cena, AJ. Now, before we get into this, I'm not going to be able to cover everything just because some of the stuff I just don't really care about, or I just don't really know where I think certain things are going to go. So, if there's a certain thing I didn't cover, there's probably a reason behind it, but anyway, let's get on with it. So, the tag title picture, I think that's pretty obvious what's going to happen. They're obviously going to have the New Day feud with the club, because obviously the Vaudevillains got pinned in the matchup at Money in the Bank, and I just think that obviously that was done to keep the club strong, keep them as contenders, and I reckon this will probably mean we get a New Day versus the club feud. They'll probably go over Battleground and SummerSlam, and I think this will result in the club getting the belts either at Battleground next month or at SummerSlam. Enzo and Cass, I do think, are possible contenders as well. However, I think as the club are a heel tag team, it just makes more sense for them to feud with the New Day. But I do think this results in the club getting the tag team title belts. Next, we look at the women's title picture, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get a Charlotte versus Sasha feud coming up. I mean, whether it will be into Battleground, who knows? They might want to do Paige, since Paige beat Charlotte on the Raw going into Money in the Bank. So maybe they'll do Charlotte versus Paige at Battleground, and then Sasha comes into the picture around after Battleground. So maybe, I think that those are the two possibilities that we see coming up after Money in the Bank. And I assume also that the kind of women's undercard feud will be Becky and Natalya, which I think is pretty cool. I like that actually having female undercard matches now, because it just got a bit lazy how it would only be just the women's champion or the Divas champion just in one match. So I'm glad that they're kind of doing two women's matches hopefully over the next couple of months, which I think is cool. And yeah, it's good that there's more kind of Diva storyline or Diva women's storylines than just one. So yeah, I think that's definitely a good thing, and hopefully Charlotte and Sasha, if that does happen at SummerSlam, hopefully that's awesome. And Charlotte and Paige might be interesting, who knows? I mean, it's obviously just kind of filler, I think, anyway. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get on to the next kind of main things. When it comes to Apollo Crews and Sheamus, I expect this feud to continue. Probably only one more match, because I really don't think this should be a feud that's kind of 50-50 classic you win, I win kind of booking, because we see that so often now, and it's just getting really repetitive, and they do it so often that no one really gains any credibility. I don't mind 50-50 booking occasionally, but they do it way too often, I think, in my opinion. And I think this is a feud where Apollo Crews needs to establish his dominance, especially after getting a kind of not so convincing win over Sheamus. Like, he rolled him up basically when Sheamus was distracted by the referee, so it's not as exactly as if he won convincingly. So I think really Apollo Crews should beat Sheamus at Battleground, unless they're going to do Sheamus and Apollo Crews and they want to do that at SummerSlam, so they continue these two by having Sheamus win. But I really wouldn't be up for that. I think the problem is Apollo Crews is just someone who I think they brought up way too early. He's not really got much of a character. He still does a lot of that smiling baby face, and it really could end up... It may not work for him in the end. He may end up just becoming another guy on the roster who people don't really care about because he doesn't have much of a personality to him. And I think they just brought him up way too early, and I think he should maybe stay in NXT for longer, but that's just me anyway. So next we'll, I think, look at where other mid-card feuds are going. I think the main one, they're obviously going to continue Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. There's still a lot of unfinished business there, I think. And hopefully this means we get a couple more matches, maybe one at Battleground and one at SummerSlam. Maybe Zayn gets a couple of wins there, which would be nice, because I think Zayn's a guy who, it's good that he's on the main roster, but he's someone who I feel he has lost quite a lot. I do think he needs some kind of big pay-per-view wins, because he's not actually won on a pay-per-view yet, which I think is a real shame, and I think he could really, really do with a pay-per-view win. So I think definitely Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would be a way to go. Cesaro, like people like Del Rio and Cesaro and Jericho, maybe they'll do a Cesaro-Jericho feud. That would be pretty cool. As for Del Rio, I have no real idea what they'll do with him. I honestly don't really care, to be honest. As for people like The Miz, I have no idea what he'll do either. I guess he's still doing filming or whatever it is for the Marine 52,000. I don't know. It seems to me they've made so many Marine films, like it's gone a bit ridiculous. But yeah, for the IC title pitch, I have no idea, honestly. Maybe they do throw in Cesaro again, but I would like to maybe see another opponent. As for the US title, I think maybe they might squeeze out one more Rusev Titus O'Neil match at Battleground, and have Rusev win again. But future opponents beyond SummerSlam, the only thing I can really think of, and this is more just fantasy booking more than actual like, oh, this will definitely happen. But I've heard talks of like, Kurt Angle coming back, so maybe they'll do something like that. But again, I don't. That's just me kind of being like, being very optimistic. Like, I think maybe they can do Rusev, and well, I'm trying to think. When does Neville come back? Surely Neville comes back fairly soon. Maybe they can have Neville contend for the US title. I think that could have been something that'd be quite good. Neville and Rusev. Whether Neville will be back anytime soon, I have no idea. That's why I might be silly of me to think of Neville, because he might actually. Neville might be out for longer than I thought, but I thought he was due back soon around this time, but maybe I'm wrong there, I don't know. Now, this is where it gets a bit meaty, and the main event, the world title picture. Now, what I think, I'm hoping as well, that they don't blow off the Shield triple threat at Battleground, because it's not one of the big four pay-per-views, it's just a normal kind of pay-per-view that is just there, really. So hopefully they do some sort of one-on-one matchup, between Ambrose and Reigns per se, and then you have some fuck finish. Maybe Rollins comes in for the DQ. But what I think they should do is they should have, because obviously Rollins needs to do something on that pay-per-view. Like, what are you gonna have him do? Like, are you gonna have him, do nothing or just interfere in the main event? But what I was thinking of, you maybe put him in a number one contenders match for the belt, and then the winner faces whoever at SummerSlam. So then let's say Rollins faces, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of someone who's a contender. Maybe someone like, maybe like Alberto Del Rio. I don't know. He's the first person who's come into my head. Again, there's probably someone that I've missed, but that'll be a better opponent. But yeah, let's just say, for like now, Rollins versus Del Rio. You have Rollins win, becomes the number one contender. He fucks up the main event, so there's no real decisive winner, and then that makes a triple threat at SummerSlam. I think that's probably what they should. That's what I think they should maybe do. I think that'd be a good idea. Obviously, I know Rollins and Del Rio wouldn't be an exciting pay-per-view match. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's an idea. Rollins can face whoever, in a number one contenders match. Del Rio is just the first person who came to my head. It doesn't have to necessarily be Del Rio. It could be Cesaro. It could be Jericho. It could be whoever. I don't really mind. I think that's probably the best way to go about it, so you can hold off and then eventually have a triple threat at SummerSlam. And I really hope they don't just go back to Reigns. I hope they actually give Ambrose a nice little run. I think that'd be really awesome. And I think after SummerSlam, I think they should maybe go for a Rollins-Ambrose feud over the belt. I think that would be pretty cool. Have them maybe trade the belt back a few times. But ultimately, I think Rollins should end with the belt towards the end of 2016 and get a kind of another go with the world title. Honestly, because I think, because I think his first world title reign didn't really end. It didn't really end properly. It just ended because of injury. So I think that'd be pretty cool if Rollins actually got a proper run with the belt. But I also want Ambrose to get a run. So I think if you do my plan, it kind of does achieves both goals really. So hopefully we see that, because I think that'll be pretty awesome. Although what does that leave Roman Reigns with? Who knows? But anyway, thank you guys for watching this reaction and beyond video for Money in the Bank 2016. Hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe.